Hello, my dear friends. I wanted just to take this opportunity to share a quick training around some of what I feel are my most effective stress management techniques. Um, as a female entrepreneur, as a woman CEO, like I'm being pulled in so many different directions, and stress is just one of those things that I have to manage daily. More importantly, if I don't, it affects my health, and it's so important that I take time daily to prioritize my stress, and in a sense that if I am being stressed, what are those things that I'm doing that counterbalance that, right? So if I may have had a stressful afternoon, am I taking some time at the end of the day to really reflect on kind of what took place and how could I have done it differently? So the first technique that I wanted to share with you is really what do you currently have in your tool belt that you can use to relax, right? I was working with a coach, and for her, she always talks about meditation, and it's something that she shared with me in terms of how she manages her stress. Well, I started thinking through, well, I don't necessarily meditate because that's not, you know, aligned with who I am, but what I can do is I can pray. And so I use prayer as a very important place for me to get to a place that I'm relaxed, where I can actually pour out my heart and share the things that I'm challenged with, things that may be hindering my ability to move forward. And just sometimes by putting them together and having a conversation with, for me, God, it allows me to just feel confident in who I am. It's important for me to always just have that relaxation technique for me to be connected to something bigger than myself. And it just brings so much peace when I can just take a moment, take a deep breath, and pray. The other thing that I think is really important is exercise. Exercise is one of those things that we don't take enough time to do, but it's important that we get out in nature, even if it's a few times a week, 20 minutes. And for me, I'll look at my watch, and I'll walk for 10 minutes, and then wherever I'm at, I turn around and I come back in my neighborhood, right? And if it's a little chilly, I put on a jacket, but I always have my sneakers ready to go, because it's important that I get some air, that I bring some clarity to who I am, the work that I'm doing, and then always show up in the best version of myself. The other thing that I think is really important for me, and I encourage you to do as an entrepreneur, is self-care. Schedule that self-care. For me, it's facials and massages, and I religiously, schedule them, because I know that if I don't, I'll get busy and I won't get things done. But last week I had a 90-minute facial, and oh, it feels so beautiful just to just schedule that time to be away and to be pampered and to feel good. And so I just challenge you, if you're not doing that now, take some time to figure out what's important to you from a self-care perspective. Maybe just running a hot bath with some soapy, bubbles, things of that nature. But do that self-care, because it's very, very important. Boundaries, that's another one that's really important. You want to manage your stress, figure out what's coming in at you, and figure out how to best manage that, right? And set some boundaries in terms of what it is that you're willing to do, what it is that you're not willing to do, because boundaries will allow you to be more productive, and that way you're not being pulled in so many different directions. Another thing that I think is really important is delegation. What are those things that you could be delegating to someone else? Maybe it's, I started going to Walmart.com and having my groceries being delivered instead of actually spending hours at the store. I still, end up having to go run to the store to get stuff here and there, but that's something that I'm delegating, my grocery shopping. There's stuff that maybe for your kids that you could be delegating, for your babysitter that they could be picking up or doing. And so I think it's important that we take the time to delegate the things that we're doing that may not necessarily bring the most fulfillment to our lives, that can be delegated. Another tip for managing stress that I personally use is taking breaks. If I know I have a really important project that I have to work on, I will actually schedule the time on my phone for my alarm to go off, and for me just to take a 5-minute break to get some clarity. Sometimes just going outside and looking at the birds, like that just allows me to come back and being able to have this clear mental capacity to continue. And sometimes I come back with different ideas compared to where I was. And so taking those mental breaks are important. And then that final technique for managing stress is just connecting with other people. I cannot say how important just the connection with other women, because you inspire them, they inspire you. And so a lot of times, especially for me in my work, a lot of it is online and it's hard, but in Messenger, I'm connecting with other people. And sometimes I'm just offering tips, and I'm a big, huge service person. And so I don't mind helping other people, encouraging them. And so I just really hope these little tips to manage self-stress have guided you, and hopefully you can pick one or two of those and incorporate them into your lives, allowing you to have just a much, much easier way of showing up in the world, just managing the stress that's coming at you, But just know that I believe in you and I believe in your dreams. All right, be well.